What's poppin', y'all? Pokimane's getting deep fried again, and it's by her own doing. So first I'm gonna play you guys this TikTok and tell you where this originated from. So as you just read that TikTok, you're probably like, yo, who is she disappointed in? Well, this former quote unquote friend, quote in quotations, again, this guy by the name of Saikuno. Now, I am going to sum up for you guys hours of content in a couple of minutes because this was the greatest waste of time that I ever subjected myself to. So this girl drops some random girl on X drops a Google Doc. This is the new accusation. Remember when Twitlonger was a thing? It was like, yo, 140 characters, that's not enough. 280 characters, that's not enough. So they drop a Twitlonger, and it's maybe 1,000 characters at most. Well, now they're dropping Google Docs that are 30, 40 pages. Nobody's reading that much. Let's be for real here. But immediately after this Google Doc drops, a 1 hour 30-minute plus video drops on Saikuno exposing him as a quote predator and alleged, I don't even know, like insert any bad label. And you're probably like, yo, this must be crazy. No, it was the biggest nothing burger ever. So this goof troop, the guy that made the video, this goofball, he got manipulated into making it by this girl that, to sum it up, she didn't get what she wanted from Saikuno, and she was vengeful, and she wanted to get revenge on him for not getting what she wanted, which was a relationship, exclusive relationship, who knows. And so she reached out to this guy, and this guy fell for it and did it, and made a whole video on it. So Saikuno, for those of you guys that are unfamiliar, when we're talking back to 2020 era, the Among Us era, that type of thing, this guy had indescribable motion. We're talking 50K viewers averaging that much. Then he got like a YouTube deal, which must have been crazy bread. And since then, he's fallen a lot. He's probably maybe, if he's lucky, at 10% of that viewership now. He averages around maybe like anywhere from 1.5K to 3K. And I believe that he's now more of a VTuber, which is just a character of how he actually looks in person. So the situation that happened with this chick was he followed her. This chick DMs him first, and she DMs him on some like, yo, it was on February 15th. You still looking for a Valentine's date? And some flirty like photo or GIF of Sabrina Carpenter. So she already opens it up from that avenue. This guy, he has a girlfriend, has had a girlfriend for several years. I don't know if the girl knows that. Frankly, I don't care. The girl's like 18, 19. They go back and forth. It's nothing but respectful. The guy ends up cracking, and then she gets hurt by it. She wants him to deal with her. He's still with his girlfriend, so she exposes him for cheating on his girlfriend, and then a bunch of people are talking about the age difference. Anyway, the girl, at the end of the conversations with Saikuno and when things fizzled out, she was like, hey, we can still be cool, this and that. He probably realized she was a weirdo. She was getting too attached, so he kicked her to the curb. Huge nothing burger. The guy was a player. He was not disrespectful. This guy was the most ethical player you could possibly think of. Like, yeah, now, if his girlfriend came out, would I care? No. But his girlfriend didn't come out. She just stayed quiet. She's presumably still quiet, and we haven't heard from her. So the fact that Pokimane reacts to this when she's talking about, oh, I'm so disappointed. It's like, really? Why do you even have to have an opinion? But it's just such a big deal because this guy put on kind of that like cutesy persona, but I thought he had that dog in him because he never criticized other people. Like the people that have that fan base that he has or had and they criticize others, they're the actual weirdos. Like they're doing really weird stuff. He didn't criticize anybody, so he seemed normal. And this seems to be the case. He was normal. He saw fine chicks. Hey, do a little cheating here and there. Come on. It is what it is. And this is top flight motion that he had. And he was behaving like a really nice guy. So really, we should be commending him, not disappointed. But it wasn't enough to throw some subs. Pokimane had to come out and state on video exactly how she felt about the situation.
We could just get it over with, okay? Stop making me laugh. Stop laughing, because when you guys laugh, I laugh. Okay. It's okay. We can just get it out of the way. All right? Of course, before streaming today, I expected a lot of people in the chat asking me to talk about the Saikuno situation. A oh my gosh, I was thinking about it. I was like, how can I say something that feels honest to me but doesn't get clipped out of context? I was really stressing about it. And then I realized, like, I'm stressing about it so much, and Saikuno hasn't even said anything yet. And something about that, like, didn't really sit right with me. But I do want to reiterate, it's just so sad and disappointing how often this kind of thing seems to happen, especially when it comes from people that you don't expect it to come from. And I think what I really want to say is I am just so sorry for all the hurt that's been caused to the victims, to our communities. I feel like I feel everyone's hurt and shock and confusion, and I'm right there with ya. I really try so hard to make my channel a safe space for everybody, and I really hope the people that do need to speak up will. And hopefully that's enough addressing it. But I do appreciate how kind everyone in the chat has been. So thank you so much for that.
You can just hear her scrambling. Like, what do I say? That's not going to get me in trouble. You could tell. These clip pages, they're applying that pressure to streamers like her. Hey, like Ox to 20,000. Who else? Who else am I thinking of off the top of my head? Y'all know who you are. Shout out to y'all. We mess with the Clippers heavy. I don't know if KickChamp posted this stuff. He's more on like the kick side of things. But all these other guys, stay on their head top. Be ruthless. These people, especially people like her, they're upset because they don't have the power that they once had. That's the real reason. And XQC responds to this. And he's like, who are the victims in this case? And please, elaborate on victims of what? Let me tell you this once again. There was no crime here, number one. There was no allegation of a crime. Nothing. There was no disrespect. There was no rude comments made by him. I don't even know if he uttered a curse word in these interactions. None of that. So what's going on? What's the victim of? And then Pokimane responds, trying to be smart with XQC, and says, you realize people can be victims of cheating, right? Well, you know what's funny about that? We'll get into that in a moment. But somebody replies and says, using lingo that's used for predators, groomers, and PDFs for a cheater is kind of crazy, no? Yeah, correct. Because that's exactly what this whole situation tried to portray him as. They used the word predator. It's like, dog, what the hell? Like, we're thinking we're watching a Gideon video. We're thinking we're watching Vitaly messing up like a goof troop and catching the wrong person. But it's a guy that's kicking it with a chick that opened him up first? What? A groupie. This was a groupie interaction. So I just wish that we could show this to people from the 80s, especially like when groupie culture was at an all-time high. You show this like a 50-year-old woman, she's like, what the hell? This is all girls were doing back then. It's just on the internet. And then Pokimane replies snarkily and says, just because that's the context you hear it in doesn't mean it's the only one. And then here you have definition of victim, and is one that is acted on and usually adversely affected by a force or agent. Come on, dog. Let's be real here. And this is the thing. When you read the examples, a victim of cancer, a victim of the auto crash, a murder victim, a frequent victim of political attacks, a con man's victim, even when you read the examples, none of these come even remotely close to what happened to this chick. She's a victim of her own expectations. That's what she's a victim of, the one that's accusing him. And on top of that, like she said, why am I stressing about this? Saikuno hasn't even said anything. Yeah, he better not say anything, to be honest. Just let this whole thing blow over. Respect. I respect the player. And then somebody says, except you said victims, which is plural, which implies multiple. So besides his ex, who is and are the other victims? And she says, clearly there was more than one girl he was speaking to, and likely others thought they were exclusive. Y'all are fighting over semantics when there's a larger problem here. What's the larger problem? And the semantics is the game that she just tried to play with the other guy, which is saying, oh no, actually, this is the definition of a victim. So she got outplayed. She's the one that used semantics, and then she tries to play this guy. You know what's interesting that Pokimane didn't really have an opinion on, didn't really have much to say about the potential victims when Hassan was allegedly shocking that dog like Static Shock. She didn't have anything to say. She canceled a whole podcast she was going to do, a podcast episode, because of that situation. She was quiet. There was no disappointed there. She was not disappointed at all. But now she's got something to say. And on top of that, when we're talking about people being led on, she ruined this. There was this guy named Fedmeister. He started off as an editor. He was an editor for one of these streamers. Eventually became like a personality. And then I think he was like an offline TV, which was their house. And him and Pokimane had these like flirty texts between each other. And he was being led on. And Pokimane would be sending him racy texts, like not so explicit, but like teasy texts. And she would be getting cracked by another dude in the next room. And they did this whole cancellation campaign on the guy. And to be honest, he didn't have the cojones to stand up and keep it pushing and keep streaming. It broke him. His career ended. He's been gone. We haven't seen him on the internet for years. And this was a different era when there was like a cabal of these streamers and they were able to just kick you out. Nobody would work with you and you were donezo. That was that. And Pokimane was a part of that. So that's one situation that she was involved in. She ignored the Hassan situation. And she also had a homegirl. She had a homegirl. I don't know if this girl was on offline TV, but this girl is still her homegirl. Just as soon as last year, they were doing some sort of content together. This girl named Fuzzly, F-U-S-L-I-E. This girl was moving on to a guy by the name of Noah J, who was part of 100 Thieves. He was a streamer, like YouTuber. He kind of does like Call of Duty videos. I think he kind of makes music. He DJs, but he was married and his marriage ended. And part of the marriage ending was due to the emotional cheating that he had with this girl, Fuzzly. And this girl, Fuzzly, knew that he was married. So this was no surprise to her. This didn't come in later. And that's the homegirl of Pokimane. She didn't say she was disappointed in her. And that's still her woman's. So the whole shtick that Pokimane tries to play, it's not going to work in this scenario. Like, people are awake now. You are starting to reach people outside of your bubble. And sure, there's a lot of clipping that happens out of context, but the truth is, you guys are being put in front of normal people that are not brainwashed by you, and they're giving normal reactions, and that's breaking your brains. Because you no longer have control over the narratives. This was a huge nothing burger. You did not have to say anything about it. And you could have just told your audience, hey, that's got nothing to do with me. We're going to move past that. And they're going to shut up and they're going to sit there and they're going to continue watching you. Because where the hell else are they going to go? But of course she's not going to do that because she's owned by her audience. And she knows what she can talk about and what she can't talk about. But she's not going to come on our side of X and try to gaslight us. Nah, girl, that ain't working. Get back on Twitch. Get back to your safe space. Talking about, oh, like, I feel for all of you. Man, she don't feel a damn thing. Well, that's for sure. This chick is cold-hearted. But yeah, I appreciate XQC being on their head top. I appreciate everybody that's pointing out their hypocrisies because this has been ongoing for 10 years with these people. And finally, the pendulum is swinging the other way. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one.